Welcome, everyone. This is Keep Punching University. My name is Jim Gonsoulin. I'm very happy to be hosting this on Monday night. We've been doing this courtesy of Carrie and Mickey Daigle for over 30 years. 30 years, that's a long time. We're very committed to helping people understand the unique opportunity we have to share our Juice Plus product and also Tower Garden with people all over the world. We're in 25 countries, 25 plus countries. And we've got a very special guest on with us tonight, Miss Beth Meyer. I'll share a little bit about Beth, her background. She's originally from New York, but she lives in Connecticut now. She'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Beth has a tremendous background in gymnastics. She was a very competitive gymnast when she was in high school. In fact, her daughter was involved in gymnastics also. After a serious injury, she went on to college and got her degree. And after college, she actually started her own mortgage company. She did that for 17 years. So she came into our business as an entrepreneur, what we call a traditional entrepreneur. She homeschooled her daughter, and she found out about the Juice Plus company in a very interesting way. You'll find out more about that in a few minutes. Beth, welcome to our Zoom tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It really is an honor to be here. I grew up in this business knowing about this team, and it's very special to me. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, isn't that a great way for us to really associate as what we call partners? We really are partners. Here's Beth, lives in Connecticut. We live in Louisiana. We may have met personally, maybe over the last few years, but here we are sharing information with all of you over this great way to communicate with Zoom. Beth, I shared a little bit about your background, but anything else you want to mention to those listening in?
Well, I came to Juice Plus in a really interesting way. I was a competitive gymnast, as you mentioned, and I had a serious career-ending injury when I was 16 that resulted in 6 knee surgeries. And nutrition has always been super, super important to me, and I'll get to that in a bit. But I actually learned about Juice Plus from my own medical doctor. I was divorced when my daughter was very little, separated when she was 3 months old, and divorced just shortly after that. And I was exhausted. And growing up, I would turn to nutrition as an athlete when I didn't feel right or when something was off. And so I did that. And by the time I went to see the person that many of you know, Dr. Tamara Sachs, who was my upline, and how I heard about this business, she had introduced Juice Plus to me, but by the time I got to her, I was already eating 15 servings of organic, vine-ripened vegetables. I live in between 2 farms, and I was doing that every single day. And as we like to joke, I couldn't kale my problem away. Um, so I came to this in a really unique way.
That's interesting. What'd you say? You couldn't kale your problem away?
I couldn't kale it away, no matter how much kale and how many veggies I ate. My adrenal glands were failing, and I needed more than just what I was doing. And thankfully, I found Dr. Tamara Sachs and was introduced to Juice Plus. And I did what all good born and raised New Yorkers do. I rolled my eyes and I was like, how would I ever take that stuff? Do you not see how well I eat? And she gave me about a 30-second schooling. And I made a decision right there to become a partner and a customer on the same day.
Beth, you and I talked about this before. What was it that Dr. Sachs said that really got your attention, even though you were eating that many servings per day?
It was 2 things. Now, it's funny how through the years you just remember like pieces and parts of that visit. And there were 2 things she said to me. One, she said, "Well, you're getting quality and you're getting quantity, but you're not getting variety." I really did not eat much fruit. And she told me that my daughter would get hers for free with our, at that time, called the Children's Health Study. And that really caught my attention. And I knew fruits and vegetables were important. I knew that I really didn't eat much fruit. I knew my daughter didn't eat much fruit. So that part just made a lot of sense to me. And then she said something fascinating. She mentioned the research, she mentioned the science. This is all in about less than a minute. And then she said, "Did you say you eat all local?" I said, "Yep." And I was so proud of my little know-it-all, yep. And she said, "Well, that's good to know because the soils in the Northeast are deficient in selenium. So I'll make sure when I run your blood work, I'll check for that too." because I'm sure you're deficient in it. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was deficient in selenium, just in case you're wondering. So I got a real quick schooling on all the things, but the fact that it had a nutrition label and clinical research, those two things for me were more important than anything else. My daughter getting it for free was important, bridging gaps was important, but knowing that there was actual science and that it was different than everything else on the market, those two things really grabbed me.
You've mentioned nutrition a couple of times. As a former gymnast and a mom and a business owner, how important is nutrition?
It's everything. I mean, it was everything for me as a child. My poor parents, I don't know how they dealt with me because I was insane about my nutrition at a very young age. I don't even know where it came from. And as I got older, it I learned more, so I became even more committed to my nutrition because I understood what I was doing. And as a gymnast, I did a lot of wrong things nutritionally. When I say wrong things, I did gymnastics at a time where the only thing that mattered was that you were very tiny, and nobody really cared how you were tiny. If you ate two Skittles or half a cucumber, I just happened to have a good coach and good parents, and I was the half a cucumber kid. I would eat half a cucumber and train for 8 hours and not eat two Skittles, but that wasn't very healthy anyway. Healthier than Skittles, but it certainly wasn't a healthy way to train.
Yeah, Beth, since you've adopted it, given your very acute knowledge and focus on nutrition for all that time, what has happened? What have you realized with Juice Plus since you started?
It's very interesting. I had zero expectation about Juice Plus, none. It to me, it just made sense. It was nutritional insurance. I didn't come to this really expecting much of anything at all. And after we were taking it for a year, my daughter and I, it dawned on me out of nowhere, really, that I had not had strep throat and neither had my daughter. And that was something I had my entire childhood. Change of seasons. I'd get it 3 times a year. I know we have 4 seasons, but I would get it 3 times a year. And my daughter did 3 times before we started Juice Plus when she was 4 years old. And I have not had strep throat since. And so I guess what I noticed was our immune system was very well supported. And we also that year had swine flu in Connecticut. And again, it was just, and we didn't get anything. So Juice Plus just really supported our immune system. And that's probably the thing, if I had to pick one thing, that has been what I've noticed most through all these years is how we fight things and the lack of illness in our house.
You know, Beth, you that's a pretty good result from what you and your daughter have realized. And folks, Beth is not making a claim; she's just sharing her own experience. But I'll segue into my next question from that. Backed up by research regarding your immune system, how important is research to you?
Well, research is everything to me, and being a partner, it's everything to me because it allows me to tell somebody what is actually happening inside their body, not my story, not what I think. And I often joke and say, it's not a panacea. I'm still 5 feet tall. It didn't make me, my brown eyes blue. But knowing that I have research, that gives me the confidence to share it the way I do, because I can confidently tell people based on that research what's happening inside their body.
That's awesome. I love the way you say that. What's actually happening inside your body. And that's coming from all that research. I think we're somewhere around 7 studies published that impact or show the result with the immune system, right?
We are.
So if you had to pick one study, you're a studious person. If you had to pick one study, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's the most unfair question. So, all right, I thought about this question a lot. And here's the thing, without all of our bioavailability studies, nothing else would really matter. So knowing that it actually it gets into our cells and it's 100% absorbed, that kind of sets the stage. But then I was thinking, the coolest study to me is the one on better arterial compliance after a high fat meal. And that might sound like the most bizarre thing, but I think it sounds really cool to know that that your arteries remain flexible, I think is cool. And then oxidative stress and DNA damage for athletes. So the whole body of research to me, when you put the whole thing together, makes it what it is. I don't think I can pluck out a favorite because I just don't think I can.
That's awesome. Well, you really spoken to the volume of research we have. 48 studies, it's pretty good evidence that Juice Plus works. But I love the way you talked about and gave that full range of what people can consider for themselves. So as a former traditional business owner, what attracted you to the business side of Juice Plus? You signed up right away, but what attracted you to the point where you actually have dedicated the time you have to reach the top marketing director position?
So I said in the very beginning that I was born on the 4th of July. I'm really independent. And as I've heard through the years, I might be psychologically unemployable. So I knew staying self employed was definitely for me. When you own a traditional business, you are responsible for everything, every last everything. The toilet backing up, dealing with the banking department, doing the audits, which are writing reports, every compliance issue. The coffee machine doesn't work, someone doesn't show up, the copy machine not. I mean, literally everything. And while it has its benefits, and I was able to bring my daughter to work and I'm nursing her while I'm, dealing with an attorney and an appraiser on the other line, that all has its good and bad. I loved, and I was paying for benefits myself. So while I had a lot of autonomy, it was also a lot of responsibility and it was all on me. So if someone called in and they weren't, that meant I had to pick up that slack. And so what attracted me here was that I had, the way I looked at it, I had all the benefits of being self-employed, but I did not have the responsibility. I didn't have all of the other things, and I had full benefits, which was something as a traditional business owner that I didn't have. I paid for all of that myself, which was quite expensive. So it was the benefits, and it was also having the support and backing of a tried and proven system and a company with longevity. That meant a lot to me. That was important to me making that decision.
That's awesome. And once you made the decision to really go for it, what was it that motivated you to reach the marketing director position, now the international marketing director?
Those big blue eyes of my daughter. Um, just knowing the life that I was, knowing the mom that I was committed to being, and there were certain things for me that were absolute non-negotiables, and that was being a fully present, full-time, stay-at-home mom. I am the sole source of income. My ex-husband has never given me a penny, and I was not willing to miss anything. I wanted to homeschool her. I wanted to coach her gymnastics. I wanted to be fully present. Daycare was not an option for me. It was going to be mom care, and I wasn't missing first anything. So for me, I mean, one look in those big blue eyes, and there's very little I wouldn't do. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I am very shy and I'm an introvert. So this has brought me way out of my shell, but putting food on the table was way more important to me than hanging on to being shy and being an introvert and saying no to my daughter. No, sorry, you can't. Mommy's too scared. Oh, sorry, you can't. Mommy's too nervous. So I just started saying yes a lot so that I could say yes to her and be the mom I wanted to be, and still am.
I can
So
see it in the eyes even just when you say that. That's awesome. That's a great option we all have, and a lot of people realize that we can end up spending more time with with our families. So that's really good to hear that. Beth, I know you've become a very integral part of the Tower Garden community. So tell us, I know you built your business on Juice Plus and Tower Garden. Juice Plus is more the residual side of the business, but why the Tower Garden? What sparked your interest there?
well, I reached the top position on Juice Plus, and for me, Tower Garden, and I should say I'm a recovered plant killer. I could never grow anything. I could kill plastic plants. So the fact that all that stuff you see behind my head, I actually grew, it's amazing to me. But this brought our message full circle to me. It really, that's the way I looked at Tower Garden from, and there's a whole story behind it, but for purposes of time, I won't go into it. But the Tower Garden to me just brought our message full circle, where we were, Juice Plus to me is bridging gaps in our diet, It's adding the things that we maybe wouldn't eat, don't have access to, can't get. And Tower Garden is really who we are. The goal of our company is to inspire healthy living and how people eat more fruits and vegetables. Juice Plus was never designed to be a replacement for anything. So to me, Tower Garden was the thing that completed that message. And it opens different doors. It opens different doors than Juice Plus opens, and allows for those conversations to happen. But you can talk to different people in a very different way.
I like what you said. It's a door opener. And Jay Martin said years ago, our job is to get them in the house, whether it's Tower Garden, the Complete, or Juice Plus. I like the way you frame that. And thank you for being such a great spokesperson for that, because you've helped a lot of us out all over the world to understand more about how we can build our business, including the Tower Garden. I love your expression, full circle, right? So Beth, what would be your recommendation to anyone who may be considering Juice Plus and or the Tower Garden, who's looking at this for the first time? What would you recommend?
I would recommend doing what I did, and that is saying yes now, and you'll be glad you did. You're at the really truly at the right, it's the right time. You're at the right place with the right company, the right leadership, the right product. There will never be a time, if you think about where we are now, where groceries are extraordinarily expensive, most people need additional income. Most people are looking for a way to support their health. And we have all of those things. Everything about this business is positive and adds value. Doesn't mean it doesn't take work. When I say positive, I mean it's doing good in the world, doing good for the world, creating impact, and every single bit of that impact is reflected in your income. And I would just say yes today. You have absolutely nothing to lose at all, except maybe getting a little healthier and helping a few others do the same. But I would say yes, ask your questions later, and jump in.
Yes, great advice. And Beth, for someone who may want to build a business, a good solid business over time, which you've done, you've demonstrated how that's done. What would you say are the key things to consider with regard to Juice Plus and the Tower Garden to build a business?
Consistency is number one. Touching your business every single day with a money making activity, and staying connected to either the person who sponsors you and brings you in the business, or a seasoned upline leader. This is not something you do on your own. And I will tell you, coming in as an entrepreneur who owned my business as young as I did, and as a gymnast, which is really an individual sport, the team component of this business was a little hard for me to wrap my head around. I didn't think I needed any support from above me, and I didn't really understand why people below me needed support. And it took me a little bit to get that. And I'm grateful that I got it as quickly as I did, as early as I did. I wish I would have gotten it maybe a year sooner, but in any event, I would just say stay connected, and consistency of effort. You can accomplish a lot with consistency, and understand the wisdom that came before you, and then make it your own, but stay connected.
Very well said. And from my experience also, that's actual fact. A further question. What was it like for you once you realized the team concept and utilizing your support team? How did your business go from that point forward?
Very interesting. So I've always been a lead by example mommy. I was a lead by example coach. No matter what age. If the kids needed something in the gym, I would show them. I would condition with them. Same with my daughter. Anything that, whether it was from a morality standpoint, values, I believe in leading by example. So for me, to this day, it's all about leading by example and doing the things that, you know, I would never ask my team to do anything that I'm not doing myself, or that I wouldn't do or didn't do or haven't done myself. And leaning on the wisdom that came before me for some advice, for some strategy, for understanding things that maybe I didn't, and really understanding. And it was a key thing. And it was a conversation I had with Joe Janowitz, who is no longer with us. And I said, I want to be successful more than I want to be right. And that was a big switch for me. And my mom was here when I said it. And she said, "You're actually listening to this stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I want to be successful way more than I want to be right." And that was when that growth piece started for me, when I started to realize that this really is about growing and continuing to grow and staying open to growth.
Awesome perspective, Beth. Thank you for sharing that. As we close out, any final thoughts for our listeners?
I'm going to sound like a Nike commercial, but just do it. I mean, the truth is, the world needs us now more than ever before. And you came here tonight for some reason. And of course, you can do what you've always done and go on like you've always gone on. And maybe this isn't for you, but you know somebody that it is for. But now more than ever, the world needs more people educating on health and nutrition and giving people very, very simple solutions on how they can move their life forward, their health forward, their wealth forward. And we have all of those things. And we have the best mentorship, the best leadership, the best products. I mean, we really truly do. I'm not saying it. The science says that. I mean, that stuff you can look up yourself, but the world needs you now. And now's the time for impact and income.
Beth, very wise observations from your own experience in life, even before Juice Plus. So we appreciate you sharing all that with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It really, truly is an honor. I do appreciate you tremendously, and it's an honor to be on here. Your team is the best of the best, and I'm grateful to be here.
Well, we appreciate your partnership, and we thank you for being on with us tonight, and we wish you a great holiday season.
Thank you, and same to you, all of you.
All right, Mr. Dago, if you'll stop the recording.